Hey ladies, how's everybody doing this weekend? Just want to make sure I'm live in the right place. Okay, Mike was trying to get in touch with me. I had to let him know that I'm live right here. And I'm not available to talk. Let me just make sure I'm live in the right spot. And I'll tell you all about what's going on with me. And I'm juggling like a bunch of different things at one time, and I'm trying to figure out how to narrow them all down to like a plan that I can keep everything on a schedule. It's tough because I have 4 Facebook groups. And there's work that Michael and I are planning to do together, and then there's work that I'm planning on doing on my own. And so it's tough to speak about all those things in one space. So I'm just going to keep the work that I do here with you ladies in this group. And unless we have like some big event coming up, I'm probably not going to share it on my personal page. So I will probably start using the at everyone tag a little more often so that you guys know what's happening when it's happening, because I don't really know how else to do that, because I'm not going to be talking about it on my profile. There's only so much there's only so much. I want to stay consistent. And in order to stay consistent, let's see if that worked. In order to stay consistent, I need to kind of keep it as simple as I can for myself. Let's see if that works. I don't know if you can do the at everyone from the computer or if you have to do it online. Anyway, I broke my phone. I broke my phone, and we got another one because I thought I needed it at work at the time. And then Mike hasn't had a phone since I met him. It got turned off, and then he just never turned it on because he didn't really need it. But now he needs one for his management position. So the one that I bought to replace my phone, I gave to him because I'm still paying off the phone that I broke. So I figured I might as well just pay the insurance deductible and get a new one since I'm paying that off anyway. And so I'm going to do that when I get my tax return, because I'm a bum and I haven't done my taxes yet. And so right now I don't have a phone, so I can't do the at everyone tag from the phone. You used to only be able to do it from the phone. We'll see what happens. If you can actually, I tried it. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to stop babbling. I'm going to center myself. I hope that some of you are around to join me. If you're not, you're not. The replay will be here. So this group is going to be different from the others. In this group, we're just going to do Our Lady things. And I wanted to share with you all the wisdom that put me on this path. I've studied a lot of esoteric traditions, a lot of sacred texts. I've talked about quite a few of them here with you guys. And after all of these years, I guess it was 1998, 7 or 8, that I went to Borders bookstore. My girlfriend and I, a couple of my girlfriends and I, we used to go to Borders bookstore all the time, and we would get chai tea lattes, and we would read all the esoteric books. Well, I read all the esoteric books. They read their books, and I read mine. And we would just sit there and read through books, and we'd leave with like a big bag of books. Like, I've always been a book addict, and so I have collections of books. And even to this day, I find that the physical book is better for me, because if I'm reading online or on Kindle, or or if I'm listening to even an audio book, I get distracted by notifications, by being able to check different things. I just have a very hard time staying focused otherwise, and so I still am working with physical copies of books. There's one book in particular that I read at that time. It was probably right before I graduated high school. Well, there's two, and they changed my world. The first one was the Celestine Prophecy. And so I guess I was 17 at the time, and a teacher of mine, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, and a teacher of mine at the time, she was my history teacher, she had a poster of the Celestine Prophecy on the wall, and she spoke so highly of it. And the way she spoke about it in such an open-minded way, that she was speaking about history and spirituality in a Catholic high school in the United States in 1997, where history, the way it was taught, was very strict. Still probably is in most schools. And most especially theology was taught very strict. And it just really piqued my interest that she had such a love for this, and she was such an open-minded, down-to-earth person. And so I bought the book. One of the best books I ever read in my life. The book is always better. There is a movie, but the book is always better. It's a spiritual experience. The book is about a journey that is also a spiritual journey, very similar to the journey in The Alchemist, but different because it's about the history and sacred knowledge, and how sacred knowledge is hidden by governments. And so it's an incredible journey. In the story, one of the parts that I remember the most was when he learns how to see the auras of plants and trees, and he's in the Amazonian jungle, I guess, or Peruvian, I'm not sure which country he's in, it's been a while, but just the way it's described. And ever since then, I have been on the spiritual journey. Before that, I had, oh God, I must have been like 14 years old when I decided that I wanted to start studying Wicca. 8th grade Catholic school. I kept it to myself, didn't tell anybody about it. And I studied that for a while, and then I realized that is a religion, and that it had dogma. And I was like, I don't know. But I was mad that they confirmed me as Catholic when I was 13, and that I didn't know that there were other religions out there, or about other religions. And so I went to Wicca, and then Buddhism. And then after that, I really just started to, that's when I read the Celestine Prophecy. And then I started to expand my consciousness from there. And so we would go to Borders bookstore, and we would pick out books, and we would read them, and I would take them home, and I would study them. And I bought a lot of books on Wicca and a lot of books on witchcraft. And this was in 96, 97, 98. And then the year that I graduated high school, 98, I don't have the book here, but I picked up Miguel Ruiz books for the first time. The first book that I read of his is called The Mastery of Love. And it's, to this day, probably, if I had to choose one book, my favorite book of all time. If I had to pick one, I would pick The Mastery of Love. This one's called The Four Agreements, and it's probably his most popular book. Probably his most popular. But he wrote many books. And his people, he is a descendant of a native Mexican tribe, Central America, North America, actually. They were, I believe, around before the Inca. And so, to this day, this is the spiritual knowledge. And everything is explained in such a way with wording that just resonates with me more than any other teachings. And I just recently moved and I found my collection of his books. I just ordered The Mastery of Love because I really want to share that one with you guys. I'll probably share that in the co-ed group too. But I thought that you guys might be interested. Some of you may have already read The Four Agreements, but I was thinking I might go live each day this month. Well, so I'll start the main chapters probably in June. If you guys are interested, I could just start them on this upcoming week. But in any case, I wanted to read this to you guys. I think that you guys will really enjoy it. Sometimes I think it's more fun to listen to someone read. I know that I enjoy listening to people read. And some people are better when they listen rather than read for themselves. So I'm going to explain to you how he explains the Toltec, right? Thousands of years ago, the Toltec were known throughout southern Mexico as women and men of knowledge. Anthropologists have spoken of the Toltec as a nation or a race, but in fact, the Toltec were scientists and artists who formed a society to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and practices of the ancient ones. They came together as masters, they're called Naguals, and students at Teotihuacan, the ancient city of pyramids outside of Mexico City, known as the place where man becomes God. Over the millennia, the Naguals were forced to conceal the ancestral wisdom and maintain its existence in obscurity. European conquest, coupled with rampant misuse of personal power by a few of the apprentices, made it necessary to shield the knowledge from those who were not prepared to use it wisely or who might intentionally misuse it for personal gain. Fortunately, the esoteric Toltec knowledge was embodied and passed on through generations of different lineages of Naguals. Through it remained veiled in secrecy for hundreds of years. Ancient prophecies foretold the coming of an age when it would be necessary to return the wisdom to the people. Now, Don Miguel Ruiz, a Nagual from the Eagle Knight lineage, has been guided to share with us the powerful teachings of the Toltec. Toltec knowledge arises from the same essential unity of truth as all sacred esoteric traditions found around the world. Though it is not a religion, it honors all of the spiritual masters who have taught on the earth. While it does embrace spirit, it is most accurately described as a way of life, distinguished by the ready accessibility of happiness and love. And so, these books changed my life. These books changed my life. And I would love to share them with you. So I'm just going to settle myself in here. I'm going to center myself and ground myself quickly. And then I'll tell you a little bit more I wanted to read you something else as soon as I find it. Yeah, I wanted to read you one of the forewords to his book, one of his books, and I just can't figure out which one it is. Okay, so I'm just going to... Okay. Where is the fire? All right. I'm just going to settle myself in here, ground a little bit. I have to turn that off for a moment. Fan. There we go. I want to read you one more thing before I get off. Well, two more things I would like to read. I'm going to read try to find it. Okay, let me just... A prayer. Please join me as I begin with a prayer. First, read the words of the prayer and then take a few moments to close your eyes and do this little exercise yourself. Whenever you're feeling alone or without love, repeat this prayerful ritual and you will feel whole again. Put your attention in your lungs. Feel the pleasure of breathing to fulfill the pleasure of breathing. To breathe fulfills the biggest need of humanity. When we fulfill a need, we feel pleasure. Feel that strong connection between your lungs and the air. Just to breathe is enough to make you happy. You can always feel that pleasure of the strong communication between your lungs and the air. That communion is love. When the archangel created humans, he put a gift of love in the air for them. This gift of love fills all of your being when you breathe with awareness in every cell of your body, in every emotion of your mind, in every piece of light that creates you. Today, oh Father, Mother God, we ask you to come to us and be with us, always with us. We offer ourselves to you so that you can use our eyes, our voice, and our hands to share your love with yourself, because we are one. In every direction, from an electron to the stars, from matter to spirit, from every emotion to the energy of light, God, help us to be like you are, to love with no conditions. Help us to love ourselves just the way we are, without judgment, because when we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty, and we need to be punished, and we suffer from the punishment. Help us to be like you are, to accept everything the way it is, to love the way you love, with no conditions. Love is changing the whole world. Love is your real name, and we are your children, so we are also love. O Father, O Mother God, Help us to be just like you are. Amen. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. And I also wanted to read you a poem. It's called Return to Life. I awaken, and nothing is the same. For the first time, I open my eyes, these eyes of mine. I long believed I could see, and find all that I knew was true, was nothing but a false dream. Then, like a radiant star, the angel of death, the angel of life became, and transformed my dream from a drama of fear to a joyful comedy. So surprised, I asked the angel, "Am I dead?" She replies, "Yes, for these many years. Though your heart beat on, your mind slept in the grave of illusion, unconscious of your divinity. Now, with heart beating and body breathing, your mind was weakened from hell. Renewed your eyes, admire the beauty awaiting you. Your divine awareness wakens all the love in your being. Hating and fearing forsaken, gone are the guilt and the blame. Your soul forgives, your divinity lives. My eyes in fascination stare at the angel, sensing the truth waking in me. I surrender willingly, without condition, humbly receiving death and life. To hell, I release all claim, and with new eyes see my eternal love leaving." It's called Return to Life by Miguel Angel Ruiz. So, yeah, this is some beautiful, beautiful ancient wisdom that Don Miguel Ruiz is sharing with the world in his books. I don't know anyway. And I really wanted to share this with you guys. So I'm probably going to start tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. Probably going to start tomorrow. And I'm going to read the 4 agreements, one chapter at a time, here in the group. And then after I'm done reading the chapter, we could chat about it. I would love for you guys to join in, or join in on the replay in the comments. These books changed my life. And so I think that this information has the ability to change lives. And I want to share it. We can do meditations together. We can do divination too. I can pull cards. I could read the introduction today. The introduction, this is the 4 agreements. Can you guys hear those birds? They're so loud. The Smokey Mirror. 3,000 years ago, there was a human just like you and me who lived near a city surrounded by mountains. The human was studying to become a medicine man, to learn the knowledge of his ancestors, but he didn't completely agree with everything he was learning. In his heart, he felt there must be something more. One day, as he slept in a cave, he dreamed that he saw his own body sleeping. He came out of the cave on the night of the new moon. The sky was clear, and he could see millions of stars. Then something happened inside of him that transformed his life forever. He looked at his hands, he felt his body, and he heard his own voice say, "I am made of light. I am made of stars." He looked at the stars again, and he realized that it's not the stars that create light, but rather that light creates the stars. "Everything is made of light," he said, "and the space in between isn't empty." And he knew that everything that exists is one living being, and that light is the messenger of life, because it is alive and contains all information. Then he realized that although he was made of stars, he was not those stars. "I am in between the stars," he thought. So he called the stars the tonal, and the light between the stars the nodule. And he knew that what had created the harmony in space between the two is life or intent. Without life, the tonal and the nodule could not exist. Life is the force of the absolute, the supreme, the creator who creates everything. This is what he discovered. Everything in existence is a manifestation of the one living being we call God. Everything is God. And he came to the conclusion that human perception is merely light perceiving light. He also saw that matter is a mirror. Everything is a mirror that reflects light and creates images of that light. And the world of illusion, the dream, is just like smoke, which doesn't allow us to see what we really are. The real us is pure love, pure light, he said. This realization changed his life. Once he knew what he really was, he looked around at other humans and the rest of nature, and he was amazed at what he saw. He saw himself in everything, in every human, in every animal, in every tree, in the water, in the rain, in the clouds, in the earth. And he saw that life mixed the tonal and the nodule in different ways to create billions of manifestations of life. In those few moments, he comprehended everything. He was very excited, and his heart was filled with peace. He could hardly wait to tell his people what he had discovered, but there were no words to explain it. He tried to tell the others, but they could not understand. They could see that he had changed, that something beautiful was radiating from his eyes and his voice. They noticed that he no longer had judgment about anything or anyone. He was no longer like anyone else. He could understand very well, but no one could understand him. They believed that he was an incarnation of God, and he smiled when he heard this, and he said, "It is true. I am God, but you are also God. We are the same, you and I. We are images of light. We are God." But still, the people didn't understand him. He had discovered that he was a mirror for the rest of the people, a mirror in which he could see himself. "Everyone is a mirror," he said. He saw himself in everybody, but nobody saw him as themselves. And he realized that everyone was dreaming, but without awareness, without knowing what they really are. They couldn't see him as themselves because there was a wall of fog or smoke between the mirrors. And that wall of fog was made by the interpretation of images of light, the dream of humans. Then he knew that he would soon forget all that he had learned. He wanted to remember all the visions he had had, so he decided to call himself the Smokey Mirror, so that he would always know that matter is a mirror, and the smoke in between is what keeps us from knowing what we are. He said, "I am the Smokey Mirror, because I am looking at myself and all of you, but we don't recognize each other because of the smoke in between us. That smoke is the dream, and that mirror is you, the dreamer." And so it goes into a beautiful story about how the earth was domesticated and how we're all dreaming and how our reality is purely an illusion that allows us to see that doesn't allow us to see what we really are. This whole idea that we're separate from nature, that we're separate from spirit. And so I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I'm gonna come in tomorrow, and I'm gonna read the first chapter in the Four Agreements. And I ordered a copy of The Mastery of Love. I've had about 4 or 5 copies of it, and every time I get a new copy, I read it and I write notes in it, because it's the best book ever, like ever. It teaches you how to love yourself and how to love others in a way that you probably have never heard love explained. And I always wind up giving it to somebody. I always wind up giving it to people who I feel need it on their journey, and then I have to get a new one. So I just ordered another copy, and I'm going to read that too. But first we're going to read the Four Agreements. And I'm going to start with this upcoming week's theme. I'm going to repost it again today. The same theme from last week. But this week we're going to do the themed posts, because I'm back home again and I've gotten some rest and I feel a lot better. I feel back in my body again after all the running around I did. I spent days in and out of the hospital and driving, hours of driving and in and out of hotel rooms, and entertaining my mother while my father was in the hospital. And we even drove up to see my brother and his kids. I got to see my nephews play baseball. But it was a really long week. And so I'm going to get some more rest tonight, and I will be here tomorrow to begin our week. I hope you're all having a fantastic holiday weekend. In the U.S., we have Memorial Day this weekend. It's tomorrow. And so I hope you all have a very safe and fun weekend with your barbecues and all that fun stuff. I live at the beach, but it's really cloudy and overcast today. Now, there's probably 1 million people here, and I'm not a big fan of being around 1 million people these days. But I may go sit on the beach for a little bit tomorrow. I also may just wait until everybody goes home from their Memorial Day vacation and go when no one's around. But anyways, I didn't disappear off the face of the earth. I had to take a week off for family and traveling. But I am back, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into this daily schedule with you guys and sharing the Four Agreements with you. Happy Sunday. Happy Memorial Day. And have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I will see you all tomorrow.